rock.
Sorry I'm late, I just don't give a fuck.
Check 1, check 2, 3, go.
Hey yo, you rocking with the best known unknown podcast on the internet. It's Late to Work, now live with episode number 16. It's your boy Money Mitch, aka Light Skin Lear, aka Mitch Gaines, aka the Mixed Skin Messiah, aka Daddy Longstroke, the motherfucking clitoris wrangler, aka the Light Skin Lord of the Flies. We out here. You can catch me on social media at mgainer22 or at mlgainer22, depending on your preferred social media platform. I'm here rocking with my right hand man, the funniest man in Rhode Island. It's at Only Chris Allen, aka the one and only Chris Thomas. Find him on Facebook, Twitter, wherever your social media is at, or come into a comedy club near you if you're here in New England, you like funny niggas. Chris, what you up to lately, man?
Nothing much, man. Just got back from Cleveland for the holidays and shit. Was out there kicking it with the fam, doing all that shit, man. Now I'm back. I'm at, if you're in the Rhode Island area, I am performing at the Comedy Connection this Sunday, so stop through if you're not a bitch. But if you are a bitch, also stop through because, you know. Because
I like titties.
Yeah.
No, I mean, bitches is always welcome, man.
And I'm not, I mean, like, bitches is not like bitch. Bitch is just like, it's a weird, like you can call someone a bitch, but it doesn't mean like bitch.
That's what I mean. Like, bitch is a weird term because it's like, if you call a man bitch, it's like, it's blatantly derogatory. Yeah. But a lot of times I call women bitches, I'm not really calling you a bitch.
Exactly.
I'm just like, stop being a bitch.
Language is weird.
You know.
But yeah.
It's kind of like the nigga conversation. I feel like bitch is women's nigga.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? Like, boy, you are not allowed to say that shit.
Exactly.
Like, actually, that's probably cunt.
That's like, yeah.
Cunt is the female nigga. Like, you drop the C-bomb in a room full of women, your night's over.
And women can't even, like.
That's what I mean.
Like, that word's weird for me. Like, even. It's weird for me, like, even when women say it, because it's just like, because the weight of it, I'm just like, yeah, I don't like that word.
It's kind of like, have you ever said nigga around, like, older black people who don't say nigga anymore? Or never did? It's, like, very, like...
Well, I have. Like, black people I don't know. Like, I've been like, oh, this dude looks like he was active in the civil rights. Yeah. And I said it, and I felt, like, uncomfortable.
And he kind of shot you that look like, boy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but, like, he got caught with a rock one time.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And that's, like, and that shit stings you. And that's, I feel like it's the same thing with the cunt thing. Like, you say it in the wrong place. Like, some people, like, laugh it off on wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
Like, not good.
Yeah. But language is weird. I feel like language... People just need to say whatever they want to say. Like, I find it weird that, like, sounds that come out of, like, fucking human mouth makes people offended and shit like that.
I mean, that's a
I understand
slope.
it. Yeah, I understand it. But, like, the fact that there's bad words, like, don't say the F word, don't say the B word. It's like, dude, these are just sounds that are coming out of people's mouths. Like, intent is what matters to me more than anything else.
Context is everything, man. Like, every all words have a million different meanings depending on how you say them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny, actually, with this sales training exercise, I forget the fucking sentence, but it's like, it's a sentence you read it out, and depending on what which words you put the emphasis on, then it's a whole different sentence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't say you stole that money. Mm-hmm. It's because it's like, I didn't say you stole that money. It's like somebody else might have said it, right?
Oh yeah.
But I didn't say you stole that money. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a whole different, the way you emphasize a word, the context in which you say something and whatever, you know what I mean? It changes the conversation entirely.
Yeah.
However, since we are talking about words you can't say, women and black people, this is a great intro to our first topic of the day, the royal wedding. First topic. Drum roll on this wicked sense of brand new mic. Before we get into anything, shout out to our semi-sponsor, Samson.
Yeah, no, Samson is ours. So that's the only people who support us. So.
Yeah, shout out to Samson, man. Free gear. These headphones is tight as fuck. Yeah, like, this mic is unbelievable. That's why you're hearing us in this crystal clear, high def motherfucking audio. Sorry that I'm mad loud now. But yeah, so the royal wedding. Prince Harry got engaged.
Yeah.
I don't think typically two niggas from New England would give a fuck about the white dude from England getting married. But my man, his wife and they.
Like, there's the thing. I can't give a fraction of fuck about like the English royal family, or British royal. I don't give a shit. It's the weirdest thing in the world to me that these people are still have like kings and queens in prison. It's
what
like,
do they do now?
They don't do shit.
Because they don't have like political power, right?
I think they have influence and shit. I mean,
but that's what I mean. Like, how?
But it's like ceremonious.
Yeah, like it's just people just. It's literally you just respecting the crown.
Exactly. Like, I think
like, put some respect in my goddamn name. My name is Harry. You will get this shit right.
They do have like some form. Obviously, they have some form of political role. and influence. And it's weird because there's like, because I was in London a couple months ago, and so like they have like royal family who are not active in the royal family, so they may have like people who are royalty and just work civilian jobs, and then they have people like the royal family, like Prince Harry and shit, who are like active, so they have a job that's like surrounded that family. And like I think there's aspects about it that's political and shit, but it's just like it's just weird.
Yeah,
I think it's more. It's like they have castles and shit, and they have whole dinners with like influential politicians.
Yeah, like they just flew to Obama not that long ago.
Yeah,
it was like a month ago.
What? Why do you take these people serious?
I mean, I guess my question, and this is like I said, I know nothing about these people.
Yeah,
I haven't a clue.
Assholes.
Right, like all I know is like he kind of looks like Ron from Harry Potter. That's about all I know about Prince Harry. And I guess he used to be the wild party boy.
Where I can imagine.
There's like mad actually, there was. I just saw this the other day, and I remember it happening, but I didn't give a fuck because it was the Prince of England. Apparently, he went to like some Halloween party one year, like dressed as an actual Nazi.
Really?
Like armband, full tan suit, the whole shit.
Jeez.
So I mean, this is what I mean. Like he's a kind of a character to begin with.
Yeah, he's probably like a huge dick, like in person. Well,
I thought he's like a really nice guy.
Yeah,
he's just like he's like a bro. You know what I mean? He's like that bro who like probably pushes it a little too far sometimes.
Yeah,
like I think he's probably got a couple DUIs. Like my nigga definitely did coke off girls' ass and like a weird party. You know what I mean? Like he's that guy.
Yeah,
he's not a bad dude.
Nah.
He just pushes the limit a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like most of my white friends. So I say all to say, he is marrying Meghan Merkel.
She's fine as hell too.
So, do you watch Suits?
I don't watch that.
No, so I watched the first two. It was like my favorite show on TV when it came out. I was seeing. Not dating, not sleeping with. It was a weird thing. My boss at the time, and so we like that was our thing. Like we closed the bar like Wednesday nights because we worked at a bar. Whatever. We closed the bar or Tuesday nights, whatever night it was on. We go home to her place, like grab pizza on the way, bottle of wine, go like cuddle and watch Suits. That was my shit.
Yeah.
And so like that's been Rachel from Suits forever, and like I stopped watching Suits, and I still like that is like entertainment bay.
Yeah.
She is the best looking and like the girl has a Colgate ad for a fucking smile. You know what I mean? It doesn't like you see all these people, and I guess that one of the things we should get to is like all these racist comments from fucking British white dudes flipping out about him dating
I assume that was uncomfortable.
Oh, niggas is like wilding. But here's what I found funny. It's like they'll go in and be like, yo, Harry's a race traitor, Harry's marrying a nigger into the family, blah 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 blah. And as soon as somebody goes to like point out how unattractive she is, she looks, washed up. She's 2 years older than him. She looks average. Nobody can even say she's ugly. You can't even look at that woman with all the hate in your heart, all the vile you want. You have that fucking Twitter troll, like all I do is hate on people from behind a keyboard all day. That guy can't find it in him to call that woman ugly. That's how you know you're goddamn beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure she's much more than that. I know nothing about her other than she was on Suits.
And the thing is, like, he's absolutely dating out of his league. Like, if that dude was like just a regular accountant, like, no way he's pulling that.
But I don't know. Like, I think that's what makes it so cool. Is like, she seems like somebody who would date dudes like him if they weren't famous. But it seems fitting that he is.
There's a lot. If he wasn't famous,
no, but that's what I mean. Like if he was just fucking Ron from Harry Potter guy, Rupert Grint like walking down the street looking a little disheveled Grinch, Ed Sheeran before he got famous, you know what I mean, fucking half homeless and shit. That? I think like he has the type of appeal that appeals to women I think like her, but I don't know nearly enough about her to make a characterization. But that's what I mean. I'm spitballing here, but like I've seen that. I've definitely seen like very pretty racially ambiguous person with very kind of homely but cute in a homely way white people. I've seen that a lot. I've dated that. Shit, who am I kidding? I'm a very pretty racially ambiguous person. I've dated some like pretty mediocre looking white people who are like cute in a homely way. Like that was my type for a long time.
Right.
That's not my type currently. My girlfriend don't take that weird. But that was definitely my type for a minute.
Yeah, no, that was
Slid to the X's.
Yeah, I guess personality does. Like, if you meet someone in the right situation, you like get to know them, they're freaking dope, and they got like a dope perspective on the world, then it makes them hotter. Yeah. Like, it makes you forget like that's how I get over, because I'm like, I don't look that good, but like if you sit down, like I can make some shit happen. Like I can tell a few jokes, it'll work out, man.
Give me 10 minutes.
Exactly. I'm historically bad at clubs because clubs are just the music is rocking. I don't have club swag. Like I don't. That's not for me.
You know what's funny about that? I have all the club swag, just no club closing like move.
Oh,
so I'm like I walk in the club like not that I'm like hella confident doing the club. Like I'm definitely like I'm me.
Yeah.
But like we have a couple of drinks, whatever, we doing some shit, whatever.
Yeah.
And like we get in the club, once the music starts flowing, the drinks start flowing, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm on the dance floor from whenever we show up to last call.
Word.
And I'm out here like there's circles around. I'm dancing with women. I'm passing them off to friends. I'm pulling their friends in. I'm pulling in people who don't like to dance. That's like my MO at the club.
Yeah.
But the minute like cool, I'm kind of tired. Like I need to take a break from dancing. Like let me like try to go like talk to this girl and like close. I've got nothing for that.
Yeah.
So it's like. So what did you study in college?
Yeah.
And we're like at a nightclub just...
Yeah. See,
like, doesn't work.
I get nothing. Like, that's my worst point, but like I have nothing even before then. Like I have just like I don't want to be like I don't want to sit on the dance floor and dance with you. I just want to sit in my section and like drink and like chill
my
out.
nigga
like,
said my section.
Dude, I don't like going to clubs unless we like have a
Flex
section.
on them.
No,
in
it's
my
just,
section.
It's just I'm an old man. Like I don't want to be out. I don't
want
like
to
my
be
shoes.
with these plebeians.
Dude, I just don't like my shoes getting stepped on. I don't like getting bumped into it. I don't like just like I'd like to
You
chill.
might be the blackest friend I have. I don't like my shoes getting stepped on, so I get an $800 VIP table.
I'm not buying it myself. Like we pull this shit together.
Nigga, have you been out in a Boston club? It's 800 pooling.
Yeah, no, you can get like certain. I don't want to go into,
yeah,
but like, my
favorite,
like one of my favorite spots in Boston is like a Storyville. You get like
really,
yeah, like dude, the one like.
See, that's funny because we'll talk off air, but I got a connected Storyville.
Yeah, dude, it's sick. Like bottles are relatively cheap. They let you like you can wear whatever. They're not like super like no hats and shit like that.
See, that's why I like it because it's funny because now we on camera and I'm out here with no fit on for the first time like that. But like my hat game is like I have like 70, 80 hats. Like I'm always out with the fitted.
Yeah, you know how I feel. Yeah,
I mean, I never seen you without a Brixton on.
Exactly. It's like. Which is nuts. Like I finally like my hair, not right now, but it's finally like where I'm like, all right, man, I don't mind my hair like right now. Like I got my hairstyle down, but I'm like I'm still just comfortable with hats.
That's how I am. It's like my hair's 13 inches long. I still wear hats.
Like you invested in your hair, like still. I'm gonna wear a hat anyway. But no, Storyville and the music is dope, and like there's bad chicks there. Like I have no complaint. Like Storyville is, and you can get like cheap table and shit and just chill out, dude. And yo, my Storyville swag is actually better than my normal club swag.
Really?
Yeah, man. That's like home court, actually, when I'm out.
All right, we definitely gonna need to link up there. I did not know this about you.
Dude, yeah.
Because Storyville is my, like, if I'm not plotting a night to go, like, if I'm, like, plotting a night and, like, okay, I'm buying tickets to maybe, like, a show or something, or I'm getting a table somewhere or whatever. But if it's just a night, like, we out at the bars and, like, fuck it, like, let's go to the club at, like, 10, 11 or whatever. Like, Storyville's always my move, because, like, I'm always on Boylston Street. It's right around the corner. Like, I know a couple of the people there. I always run into people I know at Storyville. So, last time I was at Storyville, this is actually really funny. I don't watch any of that like MTV bullshit shows like Are You the One and Real World and all that shit. And so my roommate who watches this tells me one day there's a kid from like Salem on there, from Salem, Mass, where I'm from. I'm like, oh, no shit, like, that's cool, whatever. And, he throws it on one day, and it's in the background, I look up, and this nigga used to, come to my barbershop.
Word.
And so, I knew Dario from back, I think he was probably in, high school when I met him. You know what I mean? I was a freshman, sophomore in college or something. So I'd see him around the barbershop, say what up. I don't, know him like that, but I'd, see him around and shit. So I'm like, oh, shit, I know that nigga. And now he's, one of these, MTV person, he's been on 4 or 5 different shows. He's now a real estate agent in, LA and Las Vegas or some shit. He's doing, really well. Yeah. And so people, know him from this shit, and he's back home for his birthday, and he's out in Storyville. So we I didn't know this, but we come into Storyville and they got the sparklers out and people's like, oh, get picture, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to wade through this crowd and all of a sudden bump into this dude, whoever's something around, and he turns around and starts. I was like, the fuck's good, my G? How you been? And he's here with a bunch of kids from I used to play flag football with my homies from back in the day, kids I haven't seen since I was 19, 20 years old. And I was like, oh, this is a reunion. And it's that every time I'm there. It's it's always somebody I know.
An accidental reunion, which includes
And it's people I didn't even it's not we were besties or anything or any of those people, but it's played on a team with you for 2 years. I worked with this guy. I sold this nigga weed. You know what I mean? It's I know 14 people in this club, none of which did I know knew each other. Yeah. Half of which are here together, half of which aren't.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And I'm here with 9 of my friends.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Anyway, we just gave Storyville the wild promo. Catch us at Storyville next Tuesday night. That's when we'll be recording live.
But all right. So Storyville's dope. Liberty's dope too. If you ever in Boston, Liberty Hotel. Just
I got choked out last time I was at Liberty Hotel. So
really,
by a bouncer.
Oh right.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I
was talking wild reckless. Yeah, that's for another time.
All right, but okay, back to the Prince Harry and Markle.
Yes.
Okay, this is like for me. This for the world. This is like the world.
The world needs this.
The world needs this. This is like the white dude in the racist family that brings home like the black chick for the world.
But like the black chick you can bring home.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
he didn't bring home like Cardi B.
Let me ask you, not to get on tangential. You date white women. Yeah. I've seen your type.
Right.
How's that go over when you show up home? Because I feel like you're a very acceptable boyfriend to bring home guy.
When I go home with them or when they come home with me?
When you go home with them.
Oh, when I go home with I haven't look here. I'm
how do you think this is going for Meghan? Like how first time she meets the queen. Imagine that. I'm gonna meet dude's mom. It's the Queen of England.
Yeah, for me. It's always weird because culturally there is a huge gap from like my family and their family. My family is super open and super wild. Like you can say ridiculous stuff. They may talk shit about you after you leave, but like they're gonna have fun with you. It's gonna be open. So it's weird for me like to go to meet someone else's. I don't like meeting anyone's parents. Like I don't like other
How many
people's
girlfriends'
family.
parents have you met? Like how many times have you done that?
Maybe 2.
Jeez, really?
Yeah, not a lot.
Good for you, man.
I know, dude. I don't look. When you invite, dude, no one wants to meet your parents. Like I'll meet your parents. Like hopefully some of them are cool or whatever. But like. I just like most people don't like their own family. Yeah. Like now you're inviting me.
My girlfriend just met my parents for the first time at Thanksgiving. We've been dating a year. Yeah. I thought that was too soon.
Yeah, but but I'll do it because girls like want. It's how they know like how everyth's unmatched. It's how they see the future in it or there's not a future. And
likewise, there's a lot to be gained from meeting a girl's family.
Yeah, and I haven't met a girl's parents in long enough to know how it's gonna go now. Like because when you become like once you get past a certain age, like you're more comfortable in yourself. So I look at someone who is an adult. I just look at them like. Oh, this is my dad, Jerry. Like, oh, what up, Jerry? Like, I work with a dude. Like, you realize there's no weight in age. Like, I've worked with people who are like 50, 60-year-olds, and they're like 12-year-olds. Man,
see, I think that's where it's really started to settle in for me. Is like. Yeah. I've always worked with people who are older, and that was the disconnect for me. It was like there was like that, respect your elders. These people know more than me. They're 20 years my senior. Now that I'm older, I work with a lot of people who are either my age or younger, and like it really like there was no difference. If you're 24, you're 38. Like really, like the differential is: are you over 24 or 25 maybe, and do you have kids yet? Yeah, exactly. And here's okay. So to answer your question, it's always been awkward. It's been awkward because if I went home with if there's a race difference culturally, there's a big gap, and I'll take part of that because I don't know how they see me, and I'm trying to look at them how they see me, and it's a sensitive moment, and then they don't know much about me, so there's like this like weird element. It's like a tension in the room that you don't want to offend anyone, and you're trying to act and shit. It's just I don't like, but like now I think it will be different because I'm an adult, man. I've done all the same shit they done. Like they just got more experience doing it, So yeah. Oh shit, I fucked up the background. Disregard that because I'm over here doing. I didn't even notice that. I apologize. We probably should have looked up in the camera at some point and noticed that. Yeah. All right. Do you want to put a bow on the Prince Harry, Meghan Markle thing? Yeah, for sure. I don't know what else there is really to say about it. Like, I think the big takeaway for me is like I love seeing relationships for all the shit people have to say about it, whatever. I love seeing relationships in which both people are winning. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like Prince Harry is obviously dating up in the looks department, probably in the charisma department. Meghan Markle seems like a hell of a lady, and all the power. Her. Yeah,
but that's not saying much.
Yeah, I think most people would wife a incredibly successful, incredibly talented, incredibly gorgeous. And she's 36, bro. I had no idea. I thought she was like.
How is Prince Harry?
I'm not sure, but like I thought she was like 25, 27. Like I thought she was my age or younger. Yeah. You know what I mean? She's got 10 years on me. So like I clearly like glow up for him. Like you're marrying into the royal family of England. Yeah. That's a glow up for pretty much anyone whose last name isn't Rockefeller or Rothschild.
But would you? I feel like, would you want that attention though?
Hell yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, maybe not the attention, but like I want the, to your point earlier, I guess, like I want the influence, I want the prestige.
Yeah.
I want to go places and be the prince/princess of England, and be able to sit down at dinners with Rothschilds and sit down at dinners with Obamas. You know what I mean? I want to be able to have those conversations and be able to look those people in the face and like see where they're coming from, hear what they have to think, contribute my opinions into their like conscious, like, I don't know, like, who wouldn't want? I don't know. If you even kind of dream about, you know, having some sort of power in the world, I couldn't imagine not wanting that.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm fucking this up, guys, but hey, this is our first film, so you know.
Right, y'all catching the pilot episode of Late to Work, the web show. There we go. Hey.
Well, that's good enough.
No, I actually kind of like that.
I know that's the kind of looks too.
We gotta reverse that image though. I didn't notice that. It flips in the camera. I didn't think about that. Yeah, we're dumb. Sorry, guys. Anyway, for y'all not watching us at home and just listen, y'all have no idea what we're talking
Technical difficulties.
Little technical difficulties with the video. We actually are videotaping our first ever episode.
Yeah.
So this will be live on Facebook, YouTube. All right.
Facebook, YouTube. Late to Work, YouTube.
All right. And Late to Work, Facebook, obviously. So I don't know. That's about all I got to say about the royal wedding. A couple of things we want to talk about. I guess where do you want to go next? I want to touch on the Centoria Brown thing. Real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
Centoria Brown, I hope I'm pronouncing Centoria correctly. I'm sure somebody will kill me for that. But like, essentially the story, you know, this happened a decade ago, so that's what's crazy. It happened 10 years ago and the details are still so murky. But long story short, this girl, you know, had a really fucked up childhood, a very abusive family, was out of her home very young. When she was 16, probably younger than that when she met the dude. She was dating this guy who became her pimp named Cutthroat. Also, great pimp name. Not trying to applaud pimp, but like if you're going to be
Who would choose a pimp named Cutthroat?
Right?
I'm gonna go with Sweet Daddy down the street.
That's what I mean. If my new boo's like, yo, like, what's up, baby? You're like, oh, Cutthroat. What's your name? And it's like, Cutthroat, nigga.
I was like, no.
But, you know, people get in situations. So she was in a situation and got sold to this dude who, like, this is what's crazy to me, is, like, people really coming out defending him, like, he didn't deserve this. He didn't have this coming. Y'all realize you are defending a guy who openly purchased a 16-year-old for sex, right?
Yeah.
Like, again, I'm king of blurry lines.
16
she was 16.
Oh, man. And they're trying to give her, what is they trying to give her? They charging her as an adult?
Yeah, they gave her 69 years. She's in jail. She's done like a decade.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that's what I mean. This is fucking crazy. Yeah. And but that's my point. It's like, so we can all agree soliciting sex from a 16-year-old is illegal if you're, I don't know what the specific law in that state is, but I would assume over 18. I know some states where that's fuzzy.
Yeah, there's different ages of consent.
Yeah. So for example, in Massachusetts, that's a thing. So age of consent is 18. Sorry, age of consent is legally 16 for boys, but for girls it's 16 with parental consent, which is weird.
You get a permission slip to your parents?
Well, kind of, because essentially the way the law is written is like the court can bring charges against you regardless if it's under 16. If it's 16 to 18, they need a complaining witness, so the girl and then her family presumably. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so if you guys are having consensual sex and parents are cool with it.
There's someone right now that's like about to fucking 16.
Yeah, I wouldn't test the waters there.
Mitch is alright.
No, but my point is like I get that like maybe like 16 of all teenage ages is I guess the blurriest of lines, right? But we can all agree if she met dude before, she's been being sold into prostitution, sex slavery since she was at least 15, if not younger. This dude is a grown-ass man. I think he was in his 40s, late 30s, early 40s, if I remember correctly. He's like, yo, fucking real estate guy. Like, but, you know what I mean? This dude has, like, a life. Yeah. And you're out here buying. Not like I'm, like, you know, flirtatiously in a relationship with and I have an underdeveloped fucking social disorder or something. Purchasing sex from a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Don't we always say when those guys get locked up, we should kill them? I'm not that guy. I actually don't believe that. But a lot of people when you hear somebody diddle a kid, that's what, kill them, bury them under the jail. Fuck those guys, right?
Yeah, and if they
she kills him. What's the problem?
Okay, to play devil's advocate, I think there's a few things I want to unpack in this situation.
All right.
The actual incident where she kills him. Now, can you gave me a little insight of that before. Yeah. So I guess he was reaching for something.
So this is what's crazy is like the details on this are very murky because in her like confession tape, because she confesses to killing him. You know what I mean? You know, she pretty much says, you know, he was reaching between my legs. I thought he was, you know, possibly like reaching for a gun or something like harm me, and that's why I like reached over, grabbed my gun. I think she said out of her purse or wherever she had it or whatever, and shot him. Now he was shot in the back of the head. He was shot with his arms like, you know, underneath, you know, the pillows, sleeping like that. You know, looks like he was sleeping the way he was shot. So that's questionable.
Yeah.
But then from like other interviews and statements she's given, like it's the same story. It's not like the story changed, but it's like he's on top of her, starts reaching like down between her legs, and you know, assuming he's clothed or whatever, like I don't know if you're and then, you know, she starts to squirm away. He grabs her and kind of like pins her there. He starts reaching. She thinks he's reaching for a gun. She's still got her hands free, and that's why she shoots him. Now I don't know how he gets from there to face down. You shoot him in the back of the head. That seems questionable to me. Now, like I get that, but is it so implausible that like she squirms away, he rolls off of her, she grabs gun, turns around, and he's facing, you know, that way and shoots him bed and puts him in the bed? But like, so I'll get. Well, there's other details on back with it. But what do you? Does that seem plausible to you, or is like that's my thing? If that's just a murder case, I guess I'm viewing this with as much skepticism as some of these other people. I just don't get why like.
I don't think that like
given the circumstances, I don't get why we care so much.
Yeah, see, it's weird because I don't necessarily loss of life is a big issue here. There's a net of, and I didn't hear the case, and I'm just like I briefly read over it, and I had it all wrong before we even started the discussion. But I feel like they didn't believe her story.
Yeah,
but and that's why, and I'm not sure, and I don't know the details in it, but it sounds her story sounds a little bit sketchy. I don't believe in giving the 16-year-old, especially with her past, a life sentence.
Right.
Yes, I feel like if I don't trust that story, you got to do some jail time. You took someone's life, and this guy's a scumbag, and he's fucking little kids. We don't feel that bad. That's why you're not getting life. But like 10 years, like you got to eat that dog.
Like if that's like manslaughter 2 and she does 7 years, I don't.
And
like,
Cutthroat got to go to jail.
You would think, right? Because see, that's
where's
my thing.
Cutthroat at is this?
I have no idea. That's a good question. I have not looked
laying low. He mad this out.
Right, my nigga's way out of here.
Ain't you Cutthroat? No, man. That's my cousin.
I'm Sugar Daddy.
That's my cousin Cutthroat. He looks just like me.
Right, you know? Nah, to be honest with you, I guess like that's the thing that bothers me is like people are using that portion against her. Like we don't believe her story because, you know, well, if she was so scared, why would she stay? If she was so scared, why would she stay there, you know, the night with him? She was so scared, why'd she eat dinner with him? She's so scared, why'd she have sex with him? Because she had a pimp of a boyfriend who was like threatening her life if she didn't. Why 16. Is it exactly? She's 16. So if we're believing the part of the story where she has sex with him, then we're believing a rape occurred.
Yeah,
that is a fact. There is no debate about that. If you believe the part where she has sex with him, then you believe a statutory rape occurred.
Yeah.
Self-defense applies to sexual assault as well.
Yeah.
If you are being sexually assaulted and act in self-defense because you are fearful for your life and or like your sexual and like personal well-being of your person, I thought you could shoot people. I thought that was the deal.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I guess that's the part that doesn't add up to me. Is like every excuse people make, everything boils down to like that fact for me. It's like we everybody I've talked to, even people who want this woman locked up for the rest of her life, are in agreement that they had sex.
Yeah.
Everyone ever to investigate anything remotely regarding rape would agree that having sex as a 40-something-year-old man with a 16-year-old is illegal and rape, and you're committing a crime.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. Manslaughter, sure.
Yeah.
Involuntary manslaughter, like whatever, like homicide 3 maybe.
Yeah.
You plead that down, get 10, do 6.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There are options here. There's no way that girl should be, woman, I guess, should be in jail for 79 years, 69 years.
I don't think.
Also, is that a cruel twist? Like 69?
What? Oh, no. But I just feel like, what's that say? Your recording has been stopped on. Okay. Little technical difficulties. You can keep on going with this because
right.
I'll just.
That's fine. Sorry, this whole first video podcast thing is a little shaky for starters, but we're getting there. No, but I guess that's what a lot of that boils down to for me. Is just like we agreed that a crime was committed. Sure, there's got to be a punishment for loss of life. I agree with you there. Like you can't go buying everybody's story who kills somebody because that's a really fucked up precedent. And like I'm not so wildly liberal that like I'm signing on for that.
Keep talking.
But I guess like the thing I take away from that is like it's just yet another story where like we apparently just don't believe women who say that they've been sexually assaulted. We don't. We don't seem to think that they're credible enough, except when and if we want to slut shame them for whatever behaviors they were admitting to, and that just seems fucking crazy to me. It's kind of got to be one or the other. If you don't believe any of her story, then don't believe any of it, and then just call it a cold-blooded murder and try and figure it out. But if you're believing some parts of it, and the evidence is lining up, she has a pimp of a boyfriend, she is sold into sex slavery, she's been she was a little off herself, like a little I don't know the proper word for it, I don't want to be problematic, but she's a little slow or whatever because she had fetal alcohol syndrome because her mother was a wild alcoholic and a drug user when she was younger.
I mean, she's a tragedy all the way around.
That's what I mean. There's so much to this story to just say that, like, she's some dirty slut who hooked up with a guy and she got what she deserved. She should have never killed him. I can't believe people have that take. And for anyone out there who does, fuck you. I don't have much else to tell you. Shout out to Kim Kardashian. For the first time in my life, I get to say that.
What, did she make a statement about it?
She had her lawyers pro bono her Centoria Brown's case, so I guess her legal team is taking over her case and looking into appeal options. That's how this story broke, because it got a lot of celebrity support. Rihanna actually posted about the story when it happened 10 years ago, and it was popped a little bit then, and it kind of faded back into obscurity, and then Kim Kardashian kind of reintroduced the story back into the mainstream recently, which is why we're talking about it here today. That being said, we just gave it about a quarter of our podcast.
I feel like they need to do some shit about what's going on in Libya too. Since I'm
it's funny we didn't even put that on the list, but
that is trouble.
There's an actual slave trade happening in Libya, which only is a little more. Sorry, it's Libya or Liberia?
Libya.
Okay, I thought
Liberia is pretty bad too.
Well, I thought it was Liberia, and considering Liberia is a country founded by the West to essentially create reparations for slavery and send niggas back to Africa. If you were doing that, then that's where the slave trade was occurring. Yeah. That's where I really lost my mind. So that makes it a very small incrementally better. So apparently in Libya, people are trying to escape other places that are war-torn and famine-ridden throughout Africa, and trying to migrate towards Europe and some of the Middle Eastern countries and up through some of Western Asia. And what's happening is essentially a lot of people are coming into Libya, and there's smugglers who are promising to get them into Europe, promising to get them across borders, and then once they get there are your 1600s model of indentured servitude, selling them into slavery to pay off these debts, enslaving them because there is no space for them, so putting them to work until that they're able to travel, which they're never going to be able to travel. Some of these people are being put to work to pay off their debts, and then are told they're going to travel, and are just kidnapped and ushered off to another trafficker. And so this has been happening, I'm sure, for a long time before we knew about it.
Well, but I guess so, and this is the political twist on it. During Obama's presidency, I guess Hillary Clinton approved some kind of strike and killed their president, the dictator, which created
Gaddafi, right?
Yep, and created a power vacuum. Yeah. And now this is a result of it. And
it's all these militia armies of traffickers and ex-soldiers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's how they're able to maintain the power there. Is you have a bunch of dudes walking around with AR-15s and AK-47s.
Exactly.
And those are the only dudes with a boat for you to get to Europe. So
now it's
get on the boat, die of famine, or get shot trying.
Exactly. Which I mean, we have it so good here in the United States, and now we forget that these other countries, for some of these countries, this is the apocalypse. Yeah, they're living in it, and it's if there's not a time to just send troops somewhere and freaking, but it's no, I mean it's so tough, man, because I
guess the thing for me is and I said this during the campaign season. the worst part about this election, whichever way it went, quadruply as bad for Trump, right? Is because of how polarizing it is for America. America, and this is, there's so much I've been thinking about Trump lately, and I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole on him. But so much about his personality is about putting America first again, right? That's his brand. That's like the imagery he's trying to create.
Yeah.
Now, I think that's all bullshit. I think most reasonable people can agree that's all bullshit because he's doing very little for America. He's doing a lot for himself. But in doing so, in doing a lot for himself, America is paranoid and the world is paranoid of America. And so America can't function on the global scale it once did. And so the shockwave effect that sends through the rest of the world is places like Libya where this might have happened, and then even though Gaddafi, maybe taking him out was the wrong move in retrospect, right? We'd go in and send troops to stabilize the region, supposedly. I'm not saying we've done a good job doing that, but that was an option and at least something people feared. America's got too much going on to give a shit. We haven't staffed half of our government yet. You know what I mean? Do you think we're doing anything about Libya?
No.
Exactly, and they fucking know.
Puerto Rico's just starting to get
that's what I mean.
power.
U.S. territories can't get put back on their feet.
Yeah.
We're not going anywhere else.
No, we're not.
And you're going to talk about fighting terrorism. When terrorists know you're not leaving the fucking block, they're just going to stack up around town and come back to your block.
Exactly.
That's what's going to happen.
Here's the crazier thing, not to turn this into a whole political thing, is that
Why not?
Look, but these are the messes we created. So
Facts.
You can't go into it and blow shit to hell and just dip out. It's so either you don't get in from the first point or you do everything right and execute it. You can't go in here and we're okay, because these are mess. You're dealing with a lot. In order to run an effective business in the United States is a mess. When you're dealing with people, you're dealing with laws, you're dealing with emotions, you're dealing with all
Health
these different
insurance.
Yeah, exactly. So imagine going into a country. You might as well be going into a different universe and trying to fix some shit, and you blow everything to shit, and then you leave out. You obviously there's gonna be a power vacuum. Obviously things gonna go to shit. But once you do that, it's all right. Well, you gotta see it fucking through, or people are gonna die. And on the other hand, it's the reason why America is greatest country in the history of humanity, wealth wise and so forth. You can say whatever about socially and all that other thing, but
Listen, you can say whatever you want about all that shit. I will still stand by America. America is the last great hope for the world.
Exactly.
That has always been a fact in my opinion.
But they built all this wealth by staying out of shit.
Yeah.
So
which we just completely fucked up the last 40 years.
Yes, but we just didn't do it right.
Where do you think that came from? Because honestly, I think it is a hubris of the post-World War generation. I think we won the World War, and that gave us the hubris to think that we were the world's saviors, and it's been downhill since.
Okay,
we fucked up in Korea, we fucked up in Vietnam, we fucked up in Iraq, we fucked up in Afghanistan.
Well, I think so what happened? I think, and just is from my leisurely reading and everything.
For y'all who don't know, his leisurely reading is hundreds of pages of conspiracy theories a night.
Pretty much.
I'll read the fucking art of war and laws of power and the whole shit.
But so especially after World War II, we were so afraid of communism and in allowing dictators and fascism and all these different elements that we saw as negative to run wild, because that's what we did. I mean, before there was the United Nations, there was the League of Nations, I think it was called, and this was supposed to be what United Nations did. And when Hitler started killing all the people and started being aggressive and taking over country after country after country, the League of Nations, which is similar structure as the United Nations, was supposed to do something, but everyone sat back and watched. So I think that's one of the reasons, besides the nation building and so forth, that you don't allow these things to fester and to build, because you end up getting a Hitler and ends up turning into more of a shit show. So that's the reason why they said we went into Vietnam and all these other places.
But I guess my point on that is as we're quick to point out as people who live on the internet now and people who travel about society, you have to hear dumb fucks speak all the time.
Yeah.
Not everybody's Hitler, right?
Yeah.
We you hear it a million times, say this person's Hitler, Trump is Hitler, this person, Gaddafi is Hitler, Saddam is Hitler, right? not everybody's Hitler.
Yeah.
And every time we step in thinking somebody's Hitler, that's a volatile step, bro.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing is you're walking into a culture you know nothing about, accusing one of their own of being the worst person ever, destroying their entire community, and then walking away and telling people to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
And that's insane.
And here's the one thing, and I was listening to Dan Carlin, who does the Hardcore History podcast. He was on another
Great podcast.
And he was saying, it's like, yes, Saddam Hussein was an evil person. Terrible person. Like, he's like one of the worst people ever. But for his country, he was like the only one that kept everything in line. So the question you have to ask yourself is a brutal dictator, is that what they needed? Or that the situation, he was the one that kept it together? Although he was terrible, like, what do you do with that situation? And once you take him out, it turns into a shit show.
Let me throw a hot take comparison at you then. We all hate Trump on the left and on the left of anyone on the far right. We all despise Trump. We think he's horrible for the nation, right? But I would say, in some regard, it's been one of the more galvanizing, though divisive, things that's ever happened. Similar to what I'm sure Saddam was. I'm sure Saddam had his following, and everybody else was almost galvanized against him, and that created like a lot of issues for the country. But could you imagine if today, in today's America, a foreign country came in and assassinated Donald Trump?
Oh, dude, it would be
I'd lose my fucking mind.
Yeah, it would be, shit would hit the fan so quickly.
That's what I mean.
Dropping nukes and that.
Exactly, right? And it's like, so that's what we're doing in other countries. Like, we can all objectively agree Donald Trump sucks. If somebody from not the United States, if somebody assassinates Trump, like a U.S. citizen, I could give a fuck. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna applaud the guy because I don't want the FBI after me or whatever. But like, if somebody like assassinated Donald Trump, I think there's a large swath of America be like, whatever. If a foreign, God forbid, like a Muslim, fucking America would lose their shit. But like, think about that. That's who we are, right? We go to Muslim nations and take out their like what we deem to be dictators, but they're leaders, right? So if the Iraqi government comes to DC and just takes out half of Congress and murders Donald Trump, are we all cool? We think they're doing the right thing? We think they're spreading democracy?
But I think
or are they terrorists?
It'd be a little bit different. Let's say that Donald Trump was like actively murdering people. His sons were murdering and raping people. A little bit different.
I mean,
a little bit different. Then I'll be like, all right, yeah, dude, whoever got the job done.
The difference is the method in which they're doing those things. That's really the only difference. Because if you look at, I shouldn't say really like that. I don't want to trivialize that. But if you look at what Donald Trump's doing with the country, what he's doing with healthcare, what he's doing with tax regulation, what he's doing with education, you know what I mean? What he's doing with the economy, what he's doing with housing, what he's doing with even entertainment, the internet, which we'll get into in a second. You know what I mean? When you look at all those things, you can't tell me that he's not causing tremendous death. He's not shortening people's lives. He's not shortening people's access to medical care, in food, in shelter, in water. And you can't tell me that the men in that family aren't sexually assaulting people, probably to this day, on a regular basis. So when you say he's not raping people, or his sons aren't raping people, and they're not killing people, and they're not starving people, maybe like they aren't like boasting about it in the street, and they're not writing a law that says like you die and you don't. But
it's like but it's easier for humans that digest like, oh well, this is a compact effect of laws and so forth.
Exactly.
And you know, and it's weird because Americans they don't look at it like that. They digest that differently than like the outright brutality of like, you know, someone could walk into, like Saddam's son used to walk into a wedding and then rape the wife.
Jesus
and then
Christ.
and then like maybe kill the husband or just not even do anything.
It's like rando weddings?
Yeah, dude.
When they just pull up the newspaper like, oh, who get married this week? I'm about to go rape and murder.
Dude, they would just come across it, dude. And there's like there was a movie about it, and there was also there's like a book that I've only like skimmed it online, but brutal unholy stuff, man.
Bro, like you had me done when you started showing up to weddings and raping people.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure whatever happened next wasn't like cute.
Yeah, exactly. So,
you know what I mean? That wasn't like, oh, like let's go lay down with some flowers.
Yeah, and they were like, I mean, they were just brutal, like just animals. So like, I think that's different than like making laws that completely destroy families and wealth, and then you don't have medicine to fix your kid with cancer. So,
I mean, did you see that story about the kid with the diabetes?
No.
He lost his insurance under Trump, under the changes in the healthcare, administration, whatever. He lost his Obamacare healthcare that he had. He was in the process of like trying to get new healthcare, and he started a GoFundMe so that he could afford his insulin. And he hadn't raised enough money yet, so he started rationing his insulin, and he died.
Jeez.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's direct cause, not direct cause and effect. Like you said, there's 12 steps you got to go through or whatever, right? But like,
Yeah. That's bad.
So speaking of terrible things, Trump is not responsible for. Because one of my favorite things in the world is to blame Trump for things. It just drives all my righty friends insane. Now, this probably isn't as much Trump as it is a lot of people in the FCC taking advantage of Trump's ignorance about these topics, honestly. But net neutrality is back in the news. And as internet fucking people, hi internet, that's us. We're obligated to tell you that if you don't know by now, net neutrality is really fucking important.
Yeah.
I guess 30-second version on this. Net neutrality is essentially what that means is that you get to pick where you get your internet from, and whoever you get your internet from can't I won't say can't monitor because they're already monitoring, but they can't use your data statistics against you to leverage what sites you're accessing, charge you more for certain sites, scale like the load time on certain sites. They can't make it they can't tie up the internet. They can't restrict the internet, I guess. So, if you, for instance, over in Portugal where they do not have net neutrality laws, if you want to, access your social media, it's an extra $5.99 a month.
Yeah. They're trying to turn the internet, which is now super free, super open, like it should be. But now they're trying to turn it into like your cable network. So like you can pick a cable package. So you get the basics where you can get onto like Yahoo and you can Google some stuff. Or you can get the extra version where you can get on the ESPN, the sports side. Or you can pay another $20 and you can get on social media too. And it's like, oh, they're just fucking vampires. And they just want to restrict everything so they can squeeze more and more money out of the middle class, who's already freaking dry as a bone right now.
Well, and what it is that, the same people who own most internet providers are also, to your point, cable providers, right?
Yeah.
And cable subscriptions are dropping at an alarming rate for them.
Yeah.
And the model that they always used for cable was exactly that, segmentation, right? Back in the day, you just got cable, you had every channel that was on cable.
Yeah.
Then it was you had cable and you had like premium cable. Then now there's like 20 million packages you can get for cable, a dish, or whatever, right? Now that nobody's watching TV, they're trying to apply that same model to the most sellable content, which is the internet. The problem is the internet and everyone who came of age on the internet, the spirit of the internet is everything goes on the internet. Yeah. Nobody gets to decide what does or doesn't go on the internet, especially on the American internet.
Exactly. Here's the thing, and it's short-sighted thinking, and this is the problem with these 50, 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds who are in office or run these networks. They're stupid. They're short-sighted. You create this, and all you do is create a new market for hacks. How soon? Look how fast they hacked everything else. You think no one has cable because everyone has a Fire Stick, right? And they pay someone to download all the information they get. What do you think you're creating? The money that you were making before, this isn't create a black market for. Dude, technology's moving so fast, you can't not just think.
There's no way you would be able to stay on top of that.
No.
You know what I mean? But to your point, it would be possible if net neutrality were not a thing.
Yeah.
Because what that would allow people to do is see who's using things most often. Yeah. And you just can't, though hackers will get there, right? Could you imagine to get on your Netflix, you got to call your buddy who is like a fucking computer science major. Yeah. He's got to hack some shit together, send you like a fucking, an app you got to download and then run while you're offline. Yeah. Get that up, and then you fucking torrent into your Netflix account.
Yeah.
No one wants to do that. That's insane.
It's insane. It is insane. But
I'm not saying that just because I like Netflix. I'm saying that because that's how everything on the internet would now work.
Exactly.
For me to get on iTunes or to Facebook,
I can't.
It goes against the entire spirit of the internet, man.
Dude, it's really okay.
I'm sorry to sound like such like a new age hippie, but like,
no, I hate it. I hate these. This is my problem with these fucking politicians and these big business guys. I fucking hate them. They never do anything for the people. They just do anything to fatten up their pie. These people already have fucking money. Why do they need more? How much money do you need? How much more money do you need? And why? You know you're just squeezing the American people. Who has fucking extra income right now? The middle class is shrinking day by day to eventually the point where the middle class is not going to exist. It's going to be rich people and be broke people. But no, they want to squeeze you some more and more and more so they can fill their yachts with champagne. It's like, it's ridiculous. And everyone should be upset. Everyone, dude, what do you think? There's going to be a compound effect where people already lost hope for society, for the government, and for these businesses. What do you think you're going to do when you squeeze the last freedom and the last...
Well, and what's so interesting about that to me is like, not for nothing, but the way a lot of these dudes have risen to power, right, is based on the ignorance of the masses.
Yeah.
Bro, what do you think's been keeping the masses so ignorant?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, granted, the internet is a swath of information, but like, they're not going to charge you extra. Like, I would hope not, but like, I'm sure eventually they would. But like, from the outset, when you talk about things that are going to be upcharged, right? You're not going to have to pay extra to go on like Wikipedia.
No,
you're going to pay extra for Google
or WikiLeaks.
Right? Because these are things like they'll build back ends around that anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like, you won't be able to stop because the people who run those aren't going to let you stop.
Yeah.
So all you're going to do is make it impossible to get on the distracting shit and make everybody figure out how to fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, why would you? It's just a bad business move.
They're stupid. These people all they thinking about is just short-sighted. How can the next quarter we make more money for our shareholders? That's the only thing on their mind. This is what, and then these lobbyists push money into these politicians and like, okay, well, we need this done. They said, okay, so they said that in order to pass a law, they said a big you can just like if a law is passed by like I think it's like 80% of how much money like a lobbyist pumps into it.
What's like the dollar amount? Like what gets you a bill passed?
I forget. I would have to go back and look at it.
I'm curious.
It was like I'm sure
double digit millions.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah. And they said, and then they broke down like of people. If 80% of the people want this, how often does it get approved? How often does it voted?
I'd guess 5%.
It was 30%.
Okay.
30%, and but it was like lobbyists, and if money and big business want it, then it's almost 80% chance. So it just shows you how like slanted things are today, and they're gonna push. Everything's getting bad already. They're gonna push people, the common man, over the ledge.
Okay, so I have a weird tangential take off that. This has been your weekly 5-minute rant on why capitalism is bad for the nation and going to destroy America. Welcome to the Late2Work podcast for anyone who's
better
new
capitalism.
listener.
Okay, and shout out to Netflix. There's a documentary called Saving Capitalism, and he breaks down all these things. It's brilliant. So like,
definitely go watch it. It's actually I watched that like 2 weeks ago. Actually.
Real good.
Yeah,
man.
That was like one of my like 4 a.m. like Netflix.
Yeah, me too.
It was really good. But one of the things I've been thinking about a lot lately, right, is like this idea that like capitalism and big business are inherently destructive because, you know, we've talked about this before. It's like it's a predatory system. It needs to be eating somebody else for you to be successful. That's the point of capitalism. It's to drive competition, so on and so forth. One of the biggest indicators of this in American culture and one of the biggest success stories in all of capitalism is undoubtedly the NFL, right? And I was listening to a podcast the other day about, you know, the current state of the NFL and Kaepernick. There's a guy who wrote the book This Down about Washington D.C. He's writing a similar kind of take on the state of the NFL. I was listening to an interview with him, and it got me thinking. This is not something he said. I promise. It's an original thought. But the NFL, for a lot of different reasons, is in a state of decline right now, right? And it happens to coincide with this era of Trump. It happens to coincide with this like. With what?
The protests.
With the protests, but also with just like the reactions to the start of failing capitalism, as we started to see. It's during this era of nation building and like that coming to light and that being a failed experiment and us taking responsibility for it. There's a lot changing in the world, and it seems to be the great debate, as we were just talking about earlier, in the era we're in now in America. It's become very insular, right? And I guess the reaction hard or left from a lot of people is, well, what we need to be doing is globalizing. Like America needs to admit that it was a failed experiment and like join the rest of the world. And I think there's a happy medium there somewhere, right? Between America still believing in its own exceptionalism and being part of the global community in a real, tangible, like equal way, instead of thinking we're the bullies of the block, if you will. The way this segues here is that one of the only things everyone in the States and globally tends to agree upon is sport, right?
Yeah.
With some very noted exceptions, like the Olympics are usually peaceful and happy in celebrations of joy. The World Cup usually goes well. Now, there's been like some horror stories, and obviously Munich and Atlanta. There's been some condition issues, like you saw in like Rio the past couple of years, or in Sochi, right? But by and large, it's a pretty happy time.
Yeah.
Same could be said in America. Everybody, every age, every race, every neighborhood, every state likes the NFL, right? And the NFL's starting to fall. What's that say about our country, right? One of the only things we all subscribe to.
All comes together, yeah.
Well, here's where I think this gets interesting. The flip side of that coin in American sports is two different places. It's the NBA, which culturally is the polar opposite of the NFL, right? It has been doing what the NFL has not been able to do. Because the NFL is so American, it has tried to explain its game all the time, right? You have the games in London now, the game in Mexico, they had NFL Europe for a few years, and it just never really worked for them. Meanwhile, the NBA is expanding all over the place. Like the NBA is, fucking 30% international players now. Basketball is huge all across Europe. It's huge over in Asia and China now. It's this huge global brand. So you have the rise of basketball, which is starting to, not near football, but it's getting there. You also coincide with the rise of soccer. I wonder if the falling of the NFL and American football leaves a hole in our culture where we need sport, and the sports we gravitate towards naturally because they're the newer, more exciting sports are going to be basketball, soccer, maybe hockey, but baseball and football are the ones in the decline, right?
Yeah.
The American exceptional sports where they don't play these other places. Does that common thread bring us more in tune with the rest of the world? Do we start to have more in common with our international neighbors because now we have more to talk about? You know what I mean? I can talk hoops with somebody from Spain now. So now when I meet somebody from Spain, my Spanish ain't shit and his English is terrible, but we have something in common we can link over. And I really believe in those small bonds being what changed the world. And I wonder, and Trump has been so vocal about the NFL. The NFL is such a conservative place. Baseball is such a conservative world. If that change in sport culture here in America would be kind of the trigger or the catalyst to a change in a bigger way to America to be a better global citizen, to start adopting some of these, Scandinavian models of education, for example, a Canadian model of healthcare, and be more accepting of ideas from other places because now we're participants in them culturally.
Yeah.
I know it's a very long-winded take. I'm sorry for all of you at home. I hope that all made sense.
It did make sense. And I pray and I hope that is the case. But I have a different take on it. I think that yes, that is gonna be I actually got in an argument with this Australian girl that I was dating because she was like, sports is stupid, and she's like, I don't know why you Americans love sports so much, and I was like, everything.
Yeah, everybody loves sports.
Yeah, and which she's on some other stuff, but I was like, no, you don't understand. Sport, everything happens in sports before it happens culturally.
Yeah. And it always has sports, music, and entertainment. Exactly,
and so I was like, people need this. They absolutely need sport. It's more levels to sports and more a reflection of society and sports than anything else. Even in music too.
But no, especially sport though. I agree with you.
Exactly.
When I put on my B hat, I feel like I'm putting on my cross. That's my religion, and I don't even like baseball. You know what I mean? I just like sport
more.
Yeah.
I hope that sports does become something that brings nations together. But I think, and I always have this conversation with my friend. I was like, I think the technology of where so you see those, I think Google's has earbuds.
Oh, the translator things?
I think that
put that on my Christmas list. If anyone out there looking for a gift.
And that is the beginning. I think when people can all speak the same language, all can translate, we start to communicate. A guy from, Southie can speak to a Russian kid, from wherever in the middle of Russia,
and they can three-way phone call or Skype in somebody from Kenya, and they know what's going on.
Yeah, and they can and they realize that the same shit going on. I don't hate you. Powerful. I don't even know you.
Yes.
Like
I can't wait for that to be common.
What probably will happen is like guys hitting on girls in different countries. I mean, honestly, sex always meshes cultures more than anything. I think like it'll probably be a compound effect, but I think that like language is one of the things that like has kept nations divided more. The poor amongst the nation, because it's like these they're just looking at their
top tiers.
That.
They learn the different languages that they need to, right? Because you have access to that when you're rich.
Yeah.
Like you talk to rich people all the time, they speak 4 or 5 different languages.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I speak Mandarin because I do some business over there. I speak a little bit of French.
Well, you go to if you travel to any different countries.
They all speak.
America is the worst. We should. This is my problem with the educational system, and sorry, teachers, whatever. When we both have a relationship as teachers. Is that
a relationship now? I'm sorry.
But here's the thing. We should have been as the greatest nation, quote unquote, in the world in history. We should be learning languages from other cultures, at least like Spanish and like everyone should Spanish should be a mandatory because that's like a branch to so many different other languages.
Yeah. Well, and especially to your neighboring countries. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I think you should be able to speak either French or Spanish if you live in America.
Exactly.
You're bordered by a French-speaking and a Spanish-speaking nation.
Exactly. We should know those languages, and the fact that we're not learning it as soon as we are in that infancy development stage. Like, come on, man.
And to your point about this, right? It's like it just gets harder every generation because now we have more immigrants. And so, for instance, you mentioned we're both in relationships with teachers. One of the things I love about my girlfriend, not to put her in a pedestal or whatever, one of the classes she teaches, and she's taught every year since she's been a teacher, is she teaches an ESL math course. But it's like, if you're raised in a generation where you don't learn any other languages, right? And she speaks some Spanish, and she's better language educated than most average Americans, I would say. You know what I mean? But you still have kids in a classroom where you got some kids speaking Spanish, you got some kids speaking French, you got some kids speaking French Creole, you got some kids speaking Portuguese, you got some kids speaking Mandarin.
Yeah.
If you speak one language and dabble in one other, how in the world can you teach that class?
There's so many gaps in there.
Right, and there's a lot of educational techniques you can employ to circumvent that.
Yeah.
Right, but then it's that disconnect is crazy, and we can do away with all that very simply, and all that requires is educating the next generation in a couple different languages. Yeah. And that goes back to the whole point about creating a more global society and participating in it. You know what I mean? I feel like we end up in this place where we're not able to be part of the rest of the world, and so we're so focused on being our exceptional selves that we lose out on a lot of what we could gain by participating in everything else.
Yeah.
We got a lot more on this list. I don't think we're gonna get to all of it.
We're already at an hour.
Where do you want to go next?
What can we close this out at? Should we do something? I feel like we talked about sports. Should we go to the Cam and Mace, or should we go to the?
Let's do Cam and Mace because I feel like that's gonna be
a lighter.
I don't think it will be as relevant if we put it later.
Yeah.
So quickly, because whatever, we're past an hour anyway, but. For y'all who don't know, white people who listen to this podcast, or anyone who wasn't following hip hop in 1999, I actually was. So fun fact, I wasn't allowed to listen to hip hop until I was 11. That was a rule in my house.
Word.
Yeah. And so I'm 27. So 11 was 2001 for me. It was when I was allowed to listen to hip hop. My first intro to hip hop was probably catching it pop culture wise, 4th or 5th grade, Nelly, country grammar kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
11 I got my first parental advisory CD. It was Crazy Sexy Cool by TLC.
Word.
Shout out to my aunt Susie, got me down a boombox for my 11th Christmas. And so I'm not as up as most people who are as into hip hop as I am. I'm not as up on classics as I ought to be. Yeah. I'm not as good of a student of the game as I may sound to some of my less hip hop educated friends. You know what I mean? So whatever. Cam's fun. I like Cam. Cam's cool. And Mace is my dog, bro. I love Mace. I like Welcome Back Mace. I like Harlem Mace. I like fucking Harlem World Mace. I like More Money, More Problems Mace. I like all the Mace.
Yeah.
So when I heard, all I saw was this on the timeline. I didn't even know what happened.
Yeah.
My nigga, have you heard the Cam like album, or did you just hear like the disc back to me?
I listened to I'm a hip hop head, so I listened to
first
everything.
line, first track of the album, dog.
Yeah, right.
You just got at Mace.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah. Okay, that's Cam. Okay,
Right, but that's why I love it.
Yeah, that's Cam. Like Cam goes in. Here's the thing. I heard the Cam's the project, and I listened to it, and like I love old Cam. Like new Cam, it's like I can listen to it, but like
when you say old Cam, you mean like Purple Haze Cam, Diplomatic Unity Cam, or you mean like mixtape Cam?
No, I mean like Cam's first album, freaking what was Cam's first album's name? With the Horse and Carriage first single.
Yeah.
I forgive me for this. Confessions. I think it's called Confessions, Cam's first album. As a hip hop head, I apologize. And then I had every album. And then second album, Sex, Drugs, and Entertainment. I've been listening to Cam since like when he was like Children of the Corn and so forth. Like I'm deep in it.
So are you more Cam or Mace, generally speaking, like outside of this?
I'm way more Cam. I'm way more
Mace.
Diplomat was a legit like movement, like in 2000, and I guess that was like 2002, 2003, like diplomatic immunity.
I mean that through like 06, 07, like dude, right through the Jim Jones balling era and all that.
He killed it. So,
sorry, not to circle back, but you want to talk about a club move that always works?
Yeah.
Hey Ma, come on in the club, and you just do the step dance.
That's all you.
That's all you gotta do.
That's
Front,
that's where I eat.
That's where I eat. That's right. That's it.
I'm two-stepping. I'm not dropping anything.
To all my white people out there who are hearing this podcast and don't know what I'm talking about, right? You know the song "Hey Ma" by Diplomats. I promise you do. Go watch the music video.
Yeah.
The little two-step dance they're doing that. All you gotta do is break that out in the club. Yeah. Every girl of color in that club is fucking with you.
Yeah, dude,
you're welcome.
In fact, you can do that to any song. You don't know what you're doing out there. Two-step.
Yeah, it really works. It's just like the Cotton Eye Joe. It's really not even out. Like,
I've never done the Cotton Eye Joe either.
Of course not. You too black.
But
well, okay, I'm gonna teach you how to Cotton Eye Joe. That's gonna be next podcast.
All right, but yeah, I'm Cam all the way.
Okay.
Here's the thing.
You're wrong, but okay.
Mace washed him.
Yeah, yes.
Mace.
Cam's more important. Mace is the better rapper.
No,
that's what comes down.
No. Cam is a way better rapper, I thought Cam was gonna murder him.
Well, also Cam's on tour right now, so I don't think like the bars put this way, the bars Cam gave Mace on the album. Yeah. I don't think he was ready for the bars he got back in return.
And then his reply, Cam's reply was like it was mixed terribly. And Mace
kill your engineer.
I think Mace. I have a feeling Mace was ready for this for a while.
Yeah. Like they go back. Like there's been beef between Mace and Cam forever.
Yeah, definitely. Like for a while, and like Mace has had some weird. And Mace is like this weird thing where he got like religious and then like
twice.
Yeah.
My nigga one became a priest, came back to rapping, realized he was washed, went back to being a priest, and now it's coming back
with like a hardcore diss track.
And he got to have something coming out, right? Like he got to have a project.
I mean, you would think if you strike now and drop something, but
I expect to see a Mace project Jan 15 or so.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm Cam all day. Mace won that. I don't know if it's over.
Do you think it should be over?
I think it should be over. I think Cam's too petty. Cam's gonna continue to jab him. Mace should. Dude, Cam doesn't stop. I
agree with you.
Yeah, Cam's gonna continue to go.
But you're supposed to be like you shouldn't like you can't. You're not supposed to be really beefing at 40.
Yeah, exactly.
And once you but that's the problem, right? You're right. Mace bodied him.
Yeah.
So you gotta respond, right? Like right now, it's clearly like 1-0 Mace.
Yeah.
But now it's like Cam jabbed him, Mace washed him.
Yeah.
Cam replied. Everybody agreed that wasn't enough. Yeah. So if you reply a second time, didn't you already lose?
Nah.
Like in beef, you gotta go back and forth, right?
Yeah.
It's like the only way you can double down is if you're doubling down the kill, like you're back to back in a nigga like Drake, right? Yeah. Like you gotta double down on the win, not the loss. You can't go L and then put out some other shit like no, that wasn't right yet. Let me throw another one out there. That's not gonna work.
Nah, Cam's coming back. I guarantee.
Oh, I'm sure he is. I just don't know if it's a good look for him.
Yeah, if it's dope, then it's dope. Cam is the coolest. Cam may be the coolest person to ever live.
Nah, that's not true.
Who's cooler than Cam?
Fabulous is cooler than Cam.
No. Cam had the pink. Cam had a whole pink
I remember.
Years.
Nigga, so there's a kid in my middle school named Pinky. He used to come dressed pretty much like Cameron.
Dude.
All pink everything. Everything was 4X. Like the Joel Santana double-sized pink bandana. Like with the braids. Like out here full Cameron effect. That's my nigga.
Dude, no one in the history of the world could pull that off besides Cameron. Cameron's cool. Cameron, if you're talking about top like 10 coolest people to ever be alive, like Cameron's got to be up there.
All right, hold on, because we're an hour 10 anyway. Top 5 coolest rappers ever to live. Okay. That's gonna be our last 5 top 5. Yeah. We'll end there. What's your top 5 coolest rappers ever to live?
Cameron's number 1.
Number 1.
Cameron's my number 1, hands down.
Coolest rapper of all time. You give it to Cameron.
I'm giving it to Cameron. After that,
boy, I'm confused.
Dude, who else is cooler than Cameron?
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z's number 2. I would give it to Jay-Z number 2. No, Nas. I don't give it Nas. Nas.
Actually, this is a great introspection into your version of cool.
Yeah.
Who else is on your list?
Cam, Jay.
Fab's definitely on my list. Fab's my nigga, bro.
Can we put Pac's got to be on there?
Yeah.
Pac. Okay, actually, Cam.
Yeah, no.
Big, Jay. Pac.
Nah, see, like, Big's cool, but Big's not my type of cool.
Oh, he doesn't have a flaw. Big is the cool. Like, okay, all right. Let me end it.
I guess that. Okay, yeah. Do your 5.
All right, my fifth coolest rapper of all time. I don't know.
Dial
Maybe T.I., man.
Yeah, yo, good call.
Maybe T.I., man.
I like that.
There's not a chink in that dude's coolness.
So who's your 5? Just to recap.
Cam's number 1.
Cam, okay.
Big. Hove.
Okay.
Pac. And then T.I. T.I.'s probably
interesting because those guys don't have much in common at all. Those are 5 very different types of cool.
They're the guys that can. You put them in any room, in any setting, you're not gonna find a chink. They're not gonna do any corny. They got in the history they've been obviously Big and Pac passed early, and so
before the internet.
Yeah, but like even like Big, like Jay got kicked in the elevator by his sister-in-law.
Yeah, he made that cool.
That a chink.
Yeah, you made getting beat up by your girl's sister cool.
And Cam. Dude, Cam doesn't do anything that's not cool. Like Cam's the coolest. Cam may be one of the coolest people in history.
See, Cam's cool to me, but Cam's cool in that like I feel like Cam just does. See, Cam's cool in a almost a strictly hip hop childish Gambino way. Or like a Tyler the Creator way. Like I don't like Tyler the Creator very well, but like Tyler the Creator's cool dude because Tyler the Creator just does whatever the fuck he wants to do.
Yeah.
Or like Action Bronson. You know what I mean? Yeah. Action Bronson just does whatever Action Bronson wants to do.
No, but here's the thing.
I feel like Cameron's just doing that better.
But no, okay, here's what make yes, you're correct. He does whatever he wants to do, but like he does it with swag and everything he does causes waves. Like
that's fair.
Every like trend wise, like that may be T.I.'s only chink that he hasn't set trends. All the other rappers.
I think that's what makes T.I. cool. T.I.'s been setting trends without ever getting credit.
It'd be tough between T.I. and Jeezy.
No, I think T.I.'s way cooler than Jeezy.
Oh man, that one dude.
I mean, Jeezy's that nigga. Don't get me wrong. Like, no disrespect to Jeezy.
Not a chink. Jeezy's Jeezy's like I guess he's the 6th man off the bench. So.
All right, no, I can respect that.
All right, who you got?
I'm not, with the exception of Hove, I'm not sure I have anyone else in your top 5.
Man, this is interesting.
And I think I got a couple of black sheep in there, but I think I feel pretty good about it. High on my list, Royce the 5'9". One of the coolest niggas. Like, yeah, he's just been a real nigga doing real nigga shit for like a real long time.
There's chinks in his armor though.
What?
Like he grew up with Eminem. Like Eminem blows up. He starts beefing with Eminem. He had like
and won that beef.
Debatable.
On wax won that beef. Not career wise. So obviously M is M, and like obviously he had to make up with M to move ahead. And I guess that was kind of corny. Yeah. But
and I didn't like that. And I didn't.
Okay, so let me ask you this though: do you think like Nas is corny for like making like good with Jay?
No, I didn't know. As knowing like the situation that happened with him and M, and he's admitted to it that he
was wrong.
Yeah, he was wrong.
But that's what I mean. He was a grown ass man, but like, he did that shit not corny.
Yeah. There's some this. I love Royce the 5'9". Like, I think he's one of the most underrated lyricists that ever lived. I just think there was some in the beginning. Right now, I think he's at his cool. He's matured. Like his last album.
That's fair. I guess Younger Royce was different.
But Younger Royce, that's a chink. That's a chink.
I'll stop looking for Black Sheep. We'll give you Jay's on my list. Fab is a no-brainer to me. Fabulous might be the coolest. That dude has moved through every era of music flawlessly. Has put out. And it's weird because people knock Fab for not having hits, but
he's had some hits.
That's what I mean. But Fabulous stays with a top 20 record.
Yeah.
It might not be a top 5 record every time or a top 3 record. Yeah. Fabulous got a top 20 record out every time of year, every year for as long as I've been alive. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he switched up from fucking throwbacks and diamond watches to skinny jeans and tunics. It looks good in everything. My nigga's always in the freshest.
And rock the chip tooth for mad long.
With a chip tooth smile back in every bitch from 20-inch rims to showing up on a Tesla. Yeah. My nigga does it all flawlessly. Yeah. And I just I'm amazed at people who stay with the times and don't look corny for it. And you can't beat that to me. So So Fab's on there, Jay's on there. I'm gonna throw out one that a lot of people are gonna debate, especially a lot of my old hip hop head people. Vince Staples, man, that nigga's the coolest nigga in the world to me. I'm a fanboy out about a nigga who's younger than me. Vince Staples is the coolest dude in the world.
I like Vince Staples. I don't know. He's not. He has some he's I don't know. He says some things. He's super himself, and I respect that. And he's honest and but he does some things that I'm saying I can agree with that. I can't get on board with that.
What?
Some of the statements he's made. I can't think of some.
Some of the shit he said about respecting older hip hop and shit.
Yeah, I didn't like.
Did you see his forum on that? He was on a forum discussion with Raekwon and a bunch of people on there. I forget ComplexCon maybe a year or two ago, and he sat down and he explained all that shit. And he was
listen, and then him and Way crying. That's what I
mean. It's I respect that, but not for nothing. When I was 16, that music was 20 years old. You know what I mean?
Snoop Dogg should have been on my list. My bad.
Yeah,
all right, my bad.
Snoop may be in a different category though. You know what I mean?
But no, okay.
Snoop's on a level of cool.
You remind me of West Coast. Okay, all right.
But so Vince Staples definitely. I've never met somebody so sure of themselves and who they want to be at such a young age. Mm-hmm. And and I think what's coolest about that is he's not some weird nigga trying to step out and I'm staking my claim in this weird genre of rap. Vince Staples makes all types of music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He makes alternative, he makes R&B, he makes dance music, he makes electro, but he raps.
Yeah.
As well as any rapper who's out today, if not better.
Okay, here's the chink in the Vince Staples argument. If you're in, let's say, Beverly Hills and everyone, it's all white crowd, and you drop Vince Staples in that. No, he's not gonna fit.
No, he's not gonna. You don't know Vince Staples' catalog like that. I'm telling you, I have 12 Vince Staples records.
Okay. I just don't.
That's what I think is so cool. Vince Staples has a record for almost. The only thing Vince Staples doesn't have a record for is a nightclub.
No, I said no. If you drop him as the person in some setting here and be I don't really want to hang out with this guy. And I feel for Jay, for T.I., for everyone's. They just have this aura where everyone's dude, I just want
So here's what I'll flip that on its head. I agree with you, but I think some of the coolest people in the world that is true of, and the people who feel that way just aren't cool enough to get it. And I know how elitist that sounds, but I think of a guy like Andre 3000. You could put Andre 3000 in a lot of rooms where nobody wants to interact with Andre 3000 because Andre 3000 is a real weird dude.
Yeah,
Andre 3000 is absolutely on my list.
I think that
Andre 3000 is one of the coolest niggas alive.
I think that eccentric element kind of takes away from your overall being my thing about, and I think we may have different definitions of cool.
Okay.
Actually, I have this this
you have to have the full crossover.
Not even crossover, but that you can maneuver through these different atmospheres and you can still be. You have this aura about you. You're like this gravity where people are no matter where, and that's Jay. Jay, dude, you can put Jay on with on Leno, on Arsenio Hall.
So I'll make you a perfect comparison.
In the project, Jay.
This is who I think Vince Staples is by comparison. Marshawn Lynch. no one got Marshawn Lynch for a decade, right? Like, everybody just thought Marshawn Lynch was like a pissed off, quiet, uneducated thug who just ran niggas over. In the past 3 years, all of white America has now come to beloved, and Marshawn Lynch is the coolest guy ever, right?
Yeah.
That's gonna be Vince Staples in 8 years. When people understand who Vince Staples is, he'll be the coolest guy ever.
All right, I will give you check back. In a few years, Vince Staples may
also
on my list.
Official Vince Staples Dick Rider fan club. Vince Staples, you ever in Boston? You better come on my motherfucking podcast. But out here.
Right, so who you got?
So I got Fab, I got Jag, I got Vince Staples. You're making me really question putting Andre 3000 on there. So I'm a.
You can throw 3 stacks on there. I'm sure 3 stacks.
Nah, because I'm gonna make another interesting Southern pick instead. Because I like T.I., I like Andre 3 stacks, but my personal guy, who I think is like one of the. Nah, he's done too much corny shit. I was gonna say Ludacris.
I think Ludacris would be the coolest person to hang out with and party with.
Yeah.
But he's done some corny. He is like a goofball. Like,
but you know what I like about Ludacris?
You'd be like, dude, this is the funniest dude ever. But like, if you're like, yo, like I need like, if I gotta go to the hood, I gotta go to the project. Let me call Cam or like, he's that. Like, he's cool. He's cool to us. But I feel like if like you throw him like. With no money, nothing, and you throw him in like the projects of like.
I mean, you said like Lucas wasn't a project nigga. Like Lucas came up on the hood, like became a radio guy, and then like got on as a rapper later.
Yeah, I just feel like Ludacris is like a good kid, and then like
he's a good guy. Yeah,
exactly. Like,
and there's nothing wrong with. I guess like
there's nothing wrong with it, but I'm just talking. That's my measure of coolness. How you maneuver through these environments is. It's like I would probably have the same issues as Ludacris. Like you throw me in like Marcy's projects, I'm be like, hey, I don't want to be here. Like,
I guess like what I find cool about people like that, and I guess this is something like I aspire to be better at, and I try pretty hard at being able to maneuver all these different circles. Is like. How do you stay being a good person maneuvering those worlds, right? How do you command the respect of drug dealers without selling drugs? How do you command the respect of presidents without being involved in politics, right?
Yeah.
And I think like people like Ludacris, people like Vince Staples, people like Fabulous, like in all different ways, people like Jay for it, you know what I mean? Have that ability, and that's what I think is cool.
Yeah.
It's like Luda never really changed up. He's been him. You know what I mean? And to your point about T.I., I think that's what's cool about T.I.
Lyricist, Ludacris.
Yes. Me and my brother have that discussion all the time. Yeah. My brother loves Ludacris. My brother's a 30-year-old man who like lives out in the woods and wants nothing to do with other human beings. You know what I mean? Like, could give a fuck about the hood. Trust me. You know what I mean? Wants nothing to do with gangster rap.
Shout
but
out to your
fucking
brother,
loves.
because I think about that every day. Just give me a tiny house and just living out in the middle of nowhere off the grid.
Oh yeah, man. That's not a tiny house, but like that's my brother's dream, is a big ass house in the woods.
Dude, no, do you see those tiny houses?
Oh yeah,
that's another topic.
Yeah,
it's dope, man.
So I got Luda, I got Vince Staples, Fab. Jay, and I'm a cop out because you left him off your list, and I have to put him. I'm taking Snoop. Snoop's the coolest guy of all time. Snoop is Black Willie Nelson.
Yeah, Snoop.
Everybody likes Snoop. I don't care who you are. Like Snoop's in the White House and also threatening the president's life. Like that's Snoop Dogg.
And Snoop may be like Cam's on that list, but Snoop maybe he's one of the coolest people who ever walked the earth.
Ooh. Can I make an honorable mention of a cool nigga who also does corny shit, but is still somehow very cool?
Yeah, who's that?
Diddy. Diddy's done some of the corniest things of all time, but is still like honorable mention coolest rappers, coolest hip hop figures of all time.
He has to be in the conversation of cool hip hop. Just cool people in general.
That's what I mean. You'd have to expand.
He does some questionable. He goes through like Bad Boy era. Like he was the coolest person.
Yeah, come on.
In the planet.
Fucking Diddy, dog. Come on.
Exactly. But
I'm from Boston. I hate New York niggas. It's Diddy, dog.
His chink started when like the locks started attacking him. It's
there's a lot.
Locks, man. Go leave the locks alone, man. Just like
what are you?
All right, whatever. All right, but yeah, you gotta have Diddy. Diddy's definitely in the conversation.
All right, so there's our last top five coolest people of all time in hip hop. Collectively, I think we got Jay-Z / Snoop Dogg at a 1A, 1B type situation as people who can maneuver everywhere. From there on down, it's very varied. Got a little West Coast with Tupac and Vince Staples, going a little new age, a little old school. Got a little Southern with T.I., Ludacris.
Smashed Madonna. And
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, at Madonna's peak, you know.
Vince Staples ain't that cool. I'll tell you that. Vince Staples is not fucking Madonna-esque.
Yeah. Not peakness. Not peak. I mean, that's like smashing.
He might fuck Madonna now.
And Jay-Z smashing Beyonce. Like,
yeah, I mean, come on.
Wiped up. I mean, come on.
Yeah, like Jay-Z may be the only nigga that cool to somehow still date up.
That's how cool they are. Like Biggie and Faith. Like how cool do you have to be to look like Biggie and pull Faith?
That's what I mean.
Lil' Kim. Come on, man.
See, Faith is more impressive to me than Lil' Kim, just because like Lil' Kim like had some,
came up with him.
Yeah, and it's like Faith was just like, bro, like that was like they loved each other. That was pretty. Yeah. I like that shit. But anyway, like, I'll leave off.
Yeah. Man.
Anyway. So that's our last top five. Shout outs with all the people y'all think are cool that we left off this list. And I don't know, we'll probably rehash this some other time so that we can do non-hip hop related people involved too. Anything else you got before we out to the podcast?
No, man. That's it, man. We've at about an hour and a half, so we wasted enough of y'all people's time.
Fair enough. It's been a fun 90 minutes. As always, you're rocking with the best known unknown podcast on the internet. It's the lovely Late2Work podcast. We here at episode 16. I hope y'all love everything about it. If you're looking to find us online together, you can search us Late2Work with the numeral 2 on Facebook, SoundCloud, and iTunes at _Late2Work on Twitter, or email us at Late2Workpodcast@gmail.com. We are going to be starting a couple segments here in the next month or so, taking some people's questions, emails, comments, anything like that. So definitely get in touch. Want to hear from y'all. If you're looking for my man Chris, tell him where you can find Chris.
Only Chris Allen on Twitter, which I never tweet, but you know, maybe if you guys follow me, I'll tweet some more. Instagram.
He will, I promise. I tweeted him and he tweeted me back.
Dude, just slide into my DMs, man. Send me some titties or something. You know,
I did not slide into his DMs. Nor do I have titties to show you.
But yeah, man, that's where you can find me. Holla at me, only Chris Allen at Gmail. You want to shoot me an email or something like that? Holla at me. We're answering questions. So yeah, that's it, man.
Cool. You can find me at mgainer22 or at mlgainer22, depending on what platform you on. Track me down, find me on Facebook, whatever you guys want to do. Hit us up. Like I said, please, emails, comments, all that stuff always helps. Also, if you want to book Only Chris Allen, you can hit him at the Gmail you gave us or at our podcast email. More than happy to get on any shows y'all want us to be on. So look forward to hearing back from all of y'all. Don't be a dickhead and have a great weekend.
All right. Don't be a dick.
Peace.
Peace.